Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
And my name's James, aka FPL Drug.
You alright, mate?
Pretty good, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend of football, isn't it? And it always kind of gets us going on a Monday or a Tuesday. And obviously, we're recording on Monday this week, just through other commitments. But it's nice to see some great football, probably leading to some particularly good Sky scores as well. I've seen quite a lot of people already hitting the 100 club, which is a bit worrying given I haven't.
I'm close. I'm on 99 as we speak.
Oh, there we go, mate.
Um,
A return in this Everton game. It's obviously ongoing as we record. I've got it in front of me, so I may well kind of throw in a few updates during the pod if there's any goals or any big talking points. But we'll see. I might just butt in. Yeah, I think as always we'll just jump into the fixtures, the 10 fixtures. We'll run through it game by game, thanks to stats and data from FF stuff, and then we've had quite a few questions in, so I'll probably pick the best ones and we can run through them at the end.
yep, sounds good to me.
Right, let's go then. And first things first, a very surprising result. It was Crystal Palace 3, Spurs nil.
Yeah, very, very surprising. Obviously, super sub Edouard coming on, getting two goals, which is very impressive. Obviously, shot tier as well. What's not to like?
Yes, I've, I kind of I've seen him a few times in Scotland for Chelsea. I think he's a very good player and can only be a good signing for Crystal Palace. Obviously, took 28 seconds to get his first goal for the club. It's not bad at all. Hit shot tier there. Gallagher again, picking up tackle tier for Palace. Unfortunately, he got one assist to this game, didn't get the second, which was obviously an FPL assist, but in this game you don't get assists for winning a penalty from a handball. So that's why he didn't get the second one there. Yeah, he got booked, but I think it was a decent return for the lad, and he's probably someone that we'll discuss towards the end of the pod because we've got a few questions, and I think he could maybe be the answer depending on the way that you want to go. I guess on the other side, you've got Emerson Royale, the new Spurs lad. Yeah, they conceded 3 goals, but he picked up tackle tier. The big talking point is the fact that a lot of people have probably started with Harry Kane in their squads. Didn't even hit a shot on target in this game, and it's not what you wanted to see against Palace. And I expect this was probably a fixture that you were perhaps targeting with Kane before they go on to two pretty tough fixtures.
Yeah, post overhaul, yeah, people are going to be looking at pictures and thinking, oh yeah, Kane for this game would be a good person to have. And I think the same with Tanganga. Obviously, prior to this game, Spurs had kept 3 clean sheets. I think I've seen a few people that had gone for Tanganga, and obviously, yeah, he picked up 2 yellows and got sent off.
Yeah, he was quite heavily owned in the top 1K stats, which really surprised me, to be honest. I guess he is a cheap asset, but yeah, they've got a decision to make there. Obviously, sent off, he'll miss the next game at least, but does he keep his place? That's the question, and it's another one of those assets that you might have to be looking to move on early.
Yeah, I mean they are short in that area now with the Dyer injury, but yeah, you're just gonna have to see what the latest is.
Agreed, yeah. Right, well, moving on to the next game then, and a much needed win for Arsenal. It was Arsenal 1, Norwich nil.
Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine many people are on any Arsenal players. If I'm brutally honest, obviously they do have that 2 game days in a few game weeks time, but I don't know if people have planned that far ahead in their overhaul team.
There is a few. I think one of the lads that I'm in a group chat with, Lee Williams, I know he listens to the pod. He started with Ben White, and fair
Okay.
play to him. Obviously, yeah, gets himself a clean sheet here. Yeah, he got booked, but it's points at the end of the day, and it probably books in not having to make that move. I think a lot of us are maybe looking for the daisy chain from Arsenal to obviously daisy chain from say Ronaldo or Salah onto an Aubameyang, for instance. Got himself a goal here, got shot tier 1. to then maybe move on to Lukaku. So I think that will be how I particularly deal with those two Arsenal fixtures. And yeah, just looking at it here, you've got Aubameyang picks him up. Pepe got an assist, shot tier 2, pretty decent. Lokonga, the new boy, I was impressed with. Only played 62 minutes. Got himself five tackles. Wait, no, Lokonga isn't the new boy. Lokonga's was an interesting addition. But yeah, to see that stat, him and Tomiyasu both played 62 minutes there. But yeah, 5 tackles in that time. It's not bad at all.
No, it isn't at all. That was quite. Obviously, Tim Krul getting save tier 2, 5 saves shows that maybe Arsenal could have got a couple of more goals. But yeah, I guess it's good to see Aubameyang get a goal for his confidence.
Yeah, and obviously Williams there with 5 tackles for Norwich. That's something to keep an eye on if you need a bit of a budget enabler there. It was an interesting lineup for Norwich, to be fair, because Cantwell and Gilmore were both kind of rested for this game, which was a little bit strange. But I guess it's an Arsenal side that they probably didn't expect to go in and win. Maybe switch things up, have a look at a bit of the rotation in the squad. But I fully expect Cantwell and Gilmore to probably come back in. So if you have started with Gilmore, I think a few people might have done budget wise. I wouldn't be rushing to take him out.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about him a lot. I'd imagine he should come back into the team.
Yeah, for sure. Right, moving on then to a game that was incredibly frustrating for a lot of us Sky owners. It was Brentford 0, Brighton 1.
Yeah, the usual reliable defensive returns. I mean, a clean sheet was there, but tier-wise, nothing to claim. And obviously, a lot of us are on Webster, so we didn't even get the clean sheet.
Yeah,
so,
that's the frustration. And again, no surprise, we've got quite a few questions on Webster and what to do with him. And both me and you, I think, have him in both of our teams, don't we? So we've got a decision to make there. But yeah, obviously 16 passes taken off in the 37th minute for what looked like a hamstring injury. We're yet to hear any news at the time of recording, but definitely worth keeping an eye on midweek. And decisions to be made.
Yeah, it is. It's just you almost don't want them to keep the clean sheet when this happens.
No, I know. And obviously, I guess it's good news for Duffy, for instance. I think he's 6.6 million in the game, so 0.4 cheaper than Webster. And the very fact that, he's potentially going to be nailed in that squad until at least Webster's back can only be a good thing. And that might be an option. But yeah, like I said, we'll come on to that at the end of the pod. Moving on then to what was probably due to be a thriller of a game, and I expected more goals, albeit no surprises to see who picked up the tiers in this game. It was Leicester 0, Man City 1.
Yeah, those ever reliable centre backs, Laporte and Diaz, comfortably
Smashed
getting
it.
passing for it. Yeah, 89 and 106 passes for Diaz and Laporte respectively, and a clean sheet as well. So yeah, you're looking at like 10 pointers there. If you captain them, obviously 20 points. It's what you want in the Sky game. And rather unexpected was the clean sheet, to be honest. I imagined Leicester potentially getting a goal. Obviously, they're at home. They're a good team. But yeah, yet another blank for Harvey Barnes.
Yeah, I don't think many people are going to be on Barnes Leicester wise at the moment. He just hasn't really started in the way that plenty thought. I had him in my pre-overhaul team. Didn't do anything, and yeah, very quick to get rid of him, particularly as we don't really need Leicester assets at the moment. But I think Diaz for me is probably the Man City player of choice. I've gone with him in one team, not the other. Stones may well become an option later in the season, but for now it's Laporte's shirt, and I don't think he's losing it anytime soon. But I guess point to note is the fact that Laporte seems to be consistently hitting more passes than Diaz, which is an interesting point. Obviously Diaz comfortably getting it here, but pretty sure there was a game earlier in the season where Diaz only hit tier 1 and Laporte comfortably hit tier 2. So just something to keep an eye on, really.
Yeah, and if he's playing consistently Laporte, then well worth the price saving.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess disappointing for those that took the punt on Ferran Torres. I've seen quite a few going with him in Sky to start with. So he taken off on the 64th minute, which is a bit frustrating. But when you've got the likes of Raheem Sterling, De Bruyne, Foden, Mahrez all on the bench, I mean, the rotation is going to be consistent. This isn't it, between that front three?
Yeah, with City, it's inevitable. They've got just so many good players. Obviously, got Champions League coming up. You can understand it. I myself have punted on Jamie Vardy and Overhaul, one of the teams. Not for this fixture. It's for the next three. I think they've got, it might be Burnley, Palace, and Brighton. I think I might be wrong. It might be a Brentford or someone in there, but his next three fixtures are pretty decent. And
Yeah,
obviously, he did score in
he
this
did.
game, but it was ruled out for offside.
Yeah, it was unlucky, really unlucky. But I think it's a wild punt, but it's quite a good one, particularly if you're targeting those next three fixtures.
Yeah, that's the plan.
All right, moving on then to the game that I think we were all targeting after Overhaul, and the signing of one Cristiano Ronaldo meant that a lot of us decided to sway against a Bruno Fernandes and go up top with Cristiano Ronaldo. I think both of us put the armband on him, and he rewarded us. 2 goals, shot tier, and a 4-1 win against Newcastle.
Yeah, and man of the match, of course. So, did what he says on the tin. Very happy with that from Ronaldo. Thankfully, went for him in both teams. Was contemplating the whole Bruno in one team, Ronaldo in the other. But yeah, very, very, very happy. A little bit disappointed that I didn't go with Pogba because I was considering Pogba in Overhaul. But yeah, the amount of assists he's getting so far this season is insane. I think it's about 7 assists. I don't know if he's got 7 in the Sky game. He might have not got one of them. It might have been a dodgy one. But yeah, 106 passes in the game as well. It's worth mentioning.
Absolutely, he's dominant at the moment, and he's loving his football. And I think he's quite pricey, which means if you are, say, going for a Ronaldo and whatnot is your Man United coverage, do you really go for the double up and throw Pogba in there? But if he continues on this vein of form, might be worth the gamble, to be honest. I mean, 106 passes is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of good players to feed, like Greenwood, Sancho, Fernandes, Cristiano. Like, the potential is there for the returns, and I wouldn't put it past him breaking the assist record this season.
No, I wouldn't put it past him at all. And I guess just on Newcastle, another amusing tackle tier there. Obviously, last week it was Almiron. This week it's Willock with 9 tackles.
I feel like he should get like a tier 3 or a tier 4. Absolutely
Agreed.
insane.
He's absolutely smashed it there. He's put himself about. I guarantee he woke up the next day with quite a few bruises.
Yeah, I'm impressed he didn't get a yellow, to be honest.
Agreed. Right then, moving on to a game that I was in attendance at, and in fairness, I think we were unlucky not to win, but the main talking point is the fact that Mikel Antonio ended up sent off, which is bloody annoying. But it was Southampton 0, West Ham 0.
Yeah, Skywise, all eyes on that Antonio Red. Obviously now you've really kind of got a move to make, and the opportunities are there. Some of you may have already, by the time you've listened to this, gone for, say, Patrick Bamford for a 4-for-1, or as we speak, the game is being played. Everton would also be a 4-for-1.
Yep.
Something like Charlison, if you made the move too early, DCL may have been where you've gone.
Yeah, for me, I went Bamford from Antonio. I think that the 4-for-1 was there, and yes, I own Rafinha, but I really like Leeds' fixtures, and particularly impressed by the fact that they've got Newcastle next. And I genuinely feel that Bamford is probably a better captaincy option than Rafinha against Newcastle. I mean, against Liverpool, he was getting himself into some brilliant positions, and yeah, Matip and Van Dijk were pretty dominant against him, which is unfortunate. But yeah, for me, Bamford is probably the best captaincy option, and that's why I went there. Tonight, obviously, with Everton, we've seen the lineups, and DCL isn't in the squad. It sounds like his injury is a bit more long term than many expected. I think a lot of people started with him in Overhaul have had a decision to make, but quite a few have potentially gone Richarlison, Damari Gray, maybe again for a pretty decent 4-for-1. And like I said, the options are there. And even if you haven't made that move, you've still got time this week to account for potential injuries and whatnot in training this week, and you can still make the move. So if you hadn't wanted to gamble on a Bamford, for instance, or you don't own a Rafinha, you can still make the move on Friday for Leeds. You see the squad, and it's still a 3-for-1, so it's not too bad. And for those with DCL, for instance, like you can basically move to anyone. I think after the news from Rafa there.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point you make there. Like, there's still the 3-for-1. Just because the 4-for-1's gone doesn't mean Bamford's not a good pick. Like, obviously, Liverpool game is a tough game. They've got a great set of fixtures coming up.
Yeah, they really do. I think just a point to note for Saints, we played slightly more defensively in this game. We were a little bit deeper, which meant that kind of we passed the ball about kind of at the back a little bit more and maybe gave up a bit more possession kind of in midfield and up top. And for me, I think it was more to stifle Antonio and Benrahma, Bowen kind of in behind. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see us set up in the same way against both City and Wolves in the next two fixtures. And I'm not saying that go and gamble on a Saints defender. I'm by no means saying that, but something to keep an eye on for when we maybe need Saints coverage if there is a single game day. Defensively, I think both Stevens and Salisu, they seem to be the preferred centre-back pairing at the moment, and both of them almost hit tier 1 passing, at least in this game. And if we dominate the ball a little bit more, they may well hit that consistently. So something to keep an eye on. Prowsey got nowhere near, and I think a few people have gone with him just as one of those nailed options, a 90-minute man, but yeah, didn't get anywhere near passing or tackling tier this time around.
No, it's a shame for those that punted on him. But yeah, as a Saints fan, I hope this defensive style continues.
Agreed, yeah. Right, moving on then to a game that I very much doubt many of us have got anybody from, other than potentially Sarr is the Wolves keeper. Nice clean sheet there, but it was Watford 0, Wolves 2.
Speak for yourself. I've got Sarr and Size.
You've got Size.
That double up was music to my ears.
Oh, mate, you were 3 passes away from tier 1 passing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that now, and that's a little bit annoying. But you can't have it all. Confident performance from Wolves. Hwang looked pretty sharp coming off the bench.
He did, yeah, got his goal.
Very much a poacher's goal.
Yeah.
But hopefully he sees some more minutes, because why not? He's had more of an impact in half an hour than Traore has for quite a few games. So why not give him a shot?
Yeah, it's quite a scrappy performance from Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Neves and Marcel getting their foot stuck in, 9 tackles between them. Tier 2 for Neves, tier 1 for Marcel. But yeah, they got over the line. 2 goals, one obviously an own goal, a bit unfortunate for Watford, but yeah, that great away win for Wolves.
Yeah, and obviously Trincao got himself a short tier. Jimenez was a surprising stat in this one, to the fact that he got booked and he didn't have a single shot on target. Whereas obviously, Hwang came on, got the goal. Trincao was the one that had a couple of shots on target prior to that. Something to watch. I think Jimenez is probably always the kind of player that you don't ever expect a haul. You probably expect maybe a goal here, a goal there. If I had to go Wolves, I'm not sure Jimenez would really be on my radar.
No, I think I'd be more inclined to go with obviously a defensive player. Well, I have gone with the defensive players or the goalkeeper. Quite concerning, really, for him to be that anonymous in what is quite a good fixture.
Yeah, agreed. So anybody that is there, I'm not sure many people have, to be fair, but I guess you hold for the good run of fixtures, but just it's not a pick that I particularly like.
No.
Right, moving on to the final game on the Saturday then, and the result doesn't really credit Aston Villa, but it's there, and Lukaku dominates once again. It was Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 0.
I guess what gives Villa a little bit of credit is Mendy had to make 6 saves. Tier 2 save tier for Mendy. Obviously, Villa had some shots on goal to force that agenda, but yeah, 3-0 is not a flattering scoreline. And that man again, Lukaku, 2 goals, shot tier 1. You're gonna want him in your team
Yeah,
soon with the fixtures.
agreed. Yeah, I think he's very much part of that daisy chain movement for me. However, I may have to look at whether there's the opportunity there to get him in earlier. I'm not sure. It depends on the way you've set up. I know, for
Mm.
instance, people with DCL, if you've got the budget there and you've kept the money in the bank, DCL to Lukaku could be a really good move, given it now looks like DCL is out for the foreseeable. So I wouldn't be surprised to see quite a few people maybe make that move ahead of the Spurs fixture this weekend.
No, and he's captainable as well.
Yeah, agreed. And I think the main talking point, I suppose, defensively for Chelsea is the fact that there was quite heavy rotation. Obviously, myself, I went with Aspilicueta, which was a bit annoying. Came on and got an assist, thankfully, but Christensen didn't get on the pitch.
Yeah.
Jorginho, only yeah, exactly. Jorginho only came on at half time for the new guy, Niguez Sal, I think it is. And then obviously you've seen Silva, Chalobah both pop in for that squad. I think Rudiger is the one that you kind of want to be on. The most frustrating thing of this game is the fact that he was nowhere near passing to you. I think Silva,
Way. Yeah.
yeah, Silva was the one that really dominated that.
Yeah, and I mean, Silver only just made passing to.
Yeah, and I suppose that is credit to how Aston Villa approached the game, to be honest, because I thought they were brilliant. Really unlucky not to score, and almost kind of forced Chelsea into some of the plays that they made. To be fair, they kind of pressed from the front. It was a mistake from Tyrone Mings that kind of gave Kovacic's goal, and that really changes the game after half time. But up until that point, I was really impressed with Aston Villa. Right then, moving on to the Sunday games, and obviously it was dominated really by a horrendous injury, and then a sending off for the Leeds boys strike. But it was Leeds 0, Liverpool 3.
Yeah, it did change the game, and in my opinion, I don't actually think it was a red card.
No,
I
no,
Not even close to a red card. I mean, it's unfortunate that the lad's injured, but I don't think it was a bad challenge.
yeah, I think it's one of those that we've seen a few times. I think was it Son last season, the season before. Obviously, he gets red carded for almost the injury that's been suffered by the other player rather than the tackle itself. Um,
Yeah,
and I think that is very much the scenario here. That obviously the referee has seen the horrific injury for Elliot. I mean, I think it's his ankle, isn't it? It's like a fracture dislocation. He's going to be out for a long time, and he's been exceptional up until this point. But yeah, I think that's probably the reason why you've seen Strike kind of sent off. Before that, obviously, anybody that gambled on Llorente, Leeds wise, really unfortunate. Once again, he's picked up another injury. So you're probably likely to see, I think, Ayling maybe slotting at centre back in the next game, which for anybody that owns him and was happy with him playing kind of as a fullback, you probably won't see him bombing up the pitch as much as he has been in the last few games.
no, he might get passing to more easily though, so I guess there's some benefits there. But yeah, with regards to tiers, Meslier obviously getting saved tier 2, but obviously conceded 3, so kind of cancelled it out. But 3 points for Meslier, it's not terrible against Liverpool.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And the fact that I think on the other side, looking at Liverpool there, you've obviously got Mo Salah. I think if you owned him, most of us were captaining him. Got himself a goal, got himself shot tier. It's not a bad return. Could have quite easily been more, to be honest, if Mane had slotted him a few times, but instead Mane decided to have about 8 or 9 shots, and obviously only 2 classified on target. Eventually got his goal, but anybody that maybe made that Jota move, for instance, from Antonio, a bit of a punt, you're probably really unfortunate because he had plenty of chances to, get up a couple of assists in this game had Mane taken his opportunities. And it was just one of those games. I think defensively, you've got Matip, Van Dijk, probably centre backs, and I think they're probably the nailed centre back partnership here. Matip, obviously, with passing tier one, could very easily be the other way around, to be fair, in any game. So I wouldn't be worried kind of going with one or the other. So long as Matip stays fit, I think he's a great pick.
Yeah, agreed. Not someone I've looked at, but I don't blame anyone for looking at.
No, and then the other one that I think potentially a lot of people have gone with in the Sky game, and it mainly down for attacking returns, to be honest, and clean sheets rather than any tier results. But Trent picking up an assist, in this game, looking really sharp. So if you are on him, yeah, I think there could be some considerable holes on the way.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the better captaincy option over Mo Salah for this game.
Yeah,
which wasn't expected. We didn't expect the clean sheet, but obviously there's going to be other games where maybe we do expect that clean sheet, and obviously there's still the chance of attacking returns from Trent.
agreed. Yeah, and then finally, obviously we're recording at during the Everton game, so DCL owners, like we've said, I think you've been quite unfortunate. I've seen a few on Twitter already go DCL to Richarlison, just a straight swap to kind of get the captaincy for this game, and I think that was probably helped by the fact that it was confirmed that DCL is out for probably the foreseeable. Just looking on FF Stuff site now, it's almost half time. The only person that's picked up tiers so far is Jordan Pickford. He's got himself saved tier one already, so kind of keep an eye on that one. I haven't really seen much of the game. I've had it on my phone in the background, but whilst we're on this, it's hard to see what's going on.
No, fair enough.
Right then.
I understand you've got some questions.
Yeah, we've got quite a few questions, so I'm going to pick the best ones and we'll go through them. So first things first, I think it's only fair that we say Ian Parron, the legend that is, love his spreadsheet. Injuries and sending offs notwithstanding, is there anything which has happened over the Sky FF weekend that's likely to change any of your carefully laid out overhaul plans?
Considering Lukaku a little bit more than I had done, maybe might get him in earlier than planned, but I don't know how that fits in with my strategy.
Agreed. Yeah, I need to have a proper look on the spreadsheet and obviously looking at the potential points in which I could bring him in. But yeah, it may well be that I maybe go, for instance, Ronaldo to Lukaku a little bit earlier. The other point, I guess, in that is the Kane move. I'm really not sure about it anymore. Obviously, it's Tottenham, Arsenal, Saints, Wolves on that game day, in which I had planned to bring in Harry Kane. Looking at the way Spurs played, and I guess it's solely dependent on Son's injury, but the last thing I want is to bring Harry Kane in for that, and they put out a very similar performance. It's a 2-pointer, double to 4. When, say, I've got Sarr, for instance, in goal, and it's a clean sheet maybe against Saints, and you've missed out on a captaincy that you already had covered, but instead you made the move to follow the potential popular captaincy pick. But I'm honestly not sure how popular it'll be, and I'll probably keep an eye on Dan Cox's questionnaire poll that goes up on FF Stuff for captaincy coverage, just to really see how many people will be going Kane that weekend, and that might help lead which way I go on that decision.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be a lot lower than it obviously would have been last season. I think there's a lot of doubt around Kane, and obviously that last performance just increases that doubt, really.
Yeah, agreed. I think next question I'll go FF Dempsey, because it's a question that I think a lot of us are going to have to decipher, and just looking there. Steve FBL White Bear, I mean, he's had a brilliant start in Sky. Fair play to him. It's a Webster question. It's thoughts on the Webster injury and what your strategy is when a player at a similar price point picks up an injury or a suspension.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I need more info on the severity of the injury. Like, I guess one of the obvious moves is obviously to move him to Duffy.
Yeah, 6.6.
Get a bit of a saving as well in price. But yeah, I guess there's other options there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do at the moment. I
It,
don't know about yourself.
no, it's tricky. I think it's a case of wanting to see the injury and the severity first things first. I'm not going to make any move until I hear something from Potter on how long Webster's likely to be out for. And I guess the second point is whether you want to cover that Brighton Palace single game day or whether it is now a skip. So if you wanted to cover it, you've probably got two options. Presuming that you started with a four at the back, you could either go to Duffy, as you've said, 6.6 million. But I genuinely think Conor Gallagher is probably another very good option. And he's proven, obviously, in the last game, like he can still pick up tiers and, get the odd return. And he's still a really affordable asset. So that might be an option to go from, a Webster at 7 million to a Gallagher and just go four in midfield for now. And then maybe look to find another point to move to someone else later down the line. But yeah, it's another one to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I'd expect Palace to score in that game. So then again, that kind of steers you away from Webster.
Agreed. Yeah. I think similar question was just say thanks fantasy football face off. It was the same question about Webster. Ottawa Close has popped in there with about the Lukaku move. I think he's along the same lines of us. Do we move to him now or do we wait? And then FPL Buddy, well, what to do with Antonio? Well, we've kind of already covered that off on the pod that if you haven't already made the move to say an Everton asset or a Leeds asset, if you really want to, maybe still look to a Bamford. But if you haven't made the move now, yeah, you're gaining a 3-for-1. But were you expecting anything against United? Because if you weren't, it's Leeds after that. Do you just hold the transfer, suck it up for now, and accept the fact that yeah, you got sent off, but you've got him for the run foreseeable? It all depends on whether you were expecting to move him on or off. Other than that, mate, I think that probably covers off most of the questions. Looking down the list, it's very much Antonio Webster, which yeah, it's the main talking point of the week. You expect it, and yeah, rightly so. Everybody's kind of wondering what to do. So fingers crossed we've been able to answer that at least in some shape or form. But as the week goes on, again, like we said last week, feel free to slide in the DMs if you want a further chat about Sky. We're more than happy to answer any questions. And to be fair, we're just particularly loving being more actively involved in the Sky community this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be probably posting my thoughts on Twitter, what I want to do, what I'm thinking of doing. I'll be searching the hashtags, get a bit of inspiration.
Yeah,
We'll see what we end up doing.
exactly. No, for sure. Well, I think that's the perfect way to end the podcast then, mate. I think it's another good week to look forward to. We'll be back again next week. And as always, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Cheers, guys.